I mean, nobody's winning here. If PFS is not real, all of those with symptoms are still suffering. And if it is real, well, all of us without symptoms has a lot to start worrying about. What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a topic that is often overlooked in mainstream discussion about medication and safety. Post-Finasteride Syndrome, or PFS for short. Have you ever considered the unseen consequences of medication that we use every day? This issue actually came to my attention through a subscriber in the comment section that actually shared his experience with post-Finasteride syndrome. And this made me realize how crucial it is to have an informed discussion about this. Finasteride is that drug that a lot of guys are taking because of hair loss or even for enlarged prostate. It's been around for a while, but recently there's been this growing chatter about PFS, or post-Finasteride syndrome. Some guys are reporting some pretty concerning stuff. Ongoing sexual, mental and physical issues that actually sticks around long time after they stop taking the drug. So the big question we are asking today is PFS real? What does the research say? And if you're on Finasteride or thinking about it, what do you need to know? We'll be looking at the latest research findings and discussing what they mean for those considering or currently using Finasteride. So what exactly is PFS? In simple terms, it's a range of symptoms that might continue even after stopping the medication Finasteride. Of course, we hear a lot about side effects these days. But were you actually aware of these potential long-term side effects? And of course, the big question most of you guys are asking, how common is this? Which is a good question. The tricky part is, it's kind of hard to pin down. Some studies suggest that it's super rare, but then if you go online on forums like Trestless or other patient groups, you find them filled with guys sharing their PFS stories. So what gives? Well, that unfortunately is part of the mystery about PFS. Although one thing is for sure, the symptoms that these guys are describing, they're not just in their heads. Day by day, we see growing evidence pointing to something real, something tangible, something that is changing in the body because of Finasteride. We're talking about hormonal changes, neurological effects and these kind of things. And the kicker, these symptoms seem to stick around for months, even years after stopping Finasteride. And that is not your usual side effects goes away after you stop the medication scenario. As we dive deeper into today's discussion, keep this in mind. PFS is very complicated. It is not entirely understood and it's affecting real people's lives. Whether it's a widespread problem or just a singular occurrence, it's something that is gaining attention in the medical world, and for good reason, I would say. So let's pop the hood on the science of the post-Finasteride syndrome and see what we can find. As usual, I've gone through the literature and I've picked out a few studies to show you guys. So the first study we have is from, probably gonna butcher this, Dr. Erwick, and the study revealed some startling facts. Nearly 94% of participants experienced low libido, 92% has erectile dysfunction, and yet another 92 experienced decreased arousal. These numbers are more than just statistics. They are a window into the profound impact that this drug can have on someone's life. Then we got this study from 2016 by, probably gonna butcher this again, Trichology and his team. They focused a study around the lives of 79 young men who were all grappling with the long-term after effects of Finasteride. And this is not just some quick survey they did. They actually used a hefty 100-question questionnaire and some heavy-duty validated scales to measure the damage. And what did they find? A laundry list of symptoms. Loss of penis sensitivity in a whopping 87.3% of participants, decreased ejaculatory force in 82.3%, and even low penile temperature in 78%. And it doesn't stop there, guys. These guys were also dealing with the mental fog we hear about, muscle tone loss, and a major dip in their overall pleasure in life. And not only that, all these issues are persisting on an average of almost 4 years after stopping finasteride. That's not just a bad day, that's a bad era. Of course, remember, science is always on the move, always evolving. What we understand today might just be the tip of the iceberg, so stay tuned, stay curious. Up next, we're going to talk about why PFS research is stirring up such a debate and why people are arguing back and forth on the internet. Now, I know that this topic isn't just black and white. There's a controversy with arguments about study designs and the nocebo effect, which is when negative expectations actually is causing symptoms. And it's important to look at these critiques critically. For instance, let's consider the debate on sample size in these studies. We're talking small groups of men, and in the world of research, small samples can mean big question marks. It is like trying to say what an entire city likes to eat based on a single few people and what they order for dinner. It doesn't quite give the full picture, unfortunately. Then we have the issue of self-reporting. A lot of the data comes straight from the guys who are experiencing these symptoms. Now, personal experience is important, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to hard science, relying solely on self-reported data can be a bit like walking on thin ice, you know. Not everybody is going to believe your research and not everybody is going to believe in the results. There's always a chance of bias, misremembering details, or even, as I told you before, the nocebo effect, where expecting the side effects actually causes the symptoms. And here's another curveball. Could other factors be at play? Some critiques suggest that these symptoms might be linked to other health issues, psychological factors, or just lifestyle choices. It's kind of like trying to solve a mystery, but there are just a few too many suspects in the room, so you're never gonna figure it out. So where does all this leave us? Honestly, in a bit of a pickle. The debate over PFS is a classic example of science in action. It is messy, it is complicated, it is always evolving. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle, but some pieces are still missing. In the next part, we will take a look at what this means for you. Whether you are taking finasteride or thinking about it, or you're just here for the information. So what does all of this mean for you and for me? It's about being informed and asking the right question. First off, let's talk about making decisions. If you are considering finasteride, this might feel like standing on a crossroad. On one hand, there's the potential benefit, saying goodbye to hair loss, managing prostate issues, and on the other hand, there's this cloud of PFS hanging overhead. It's kind of like trying to choose between a rock and a hard place, right? And for those already on finasteride that might be feeling a bit anxious now, don't hit the panic button yet. If you are not experiencing any adverse effect, that's a positive sign. But you should still be alert, and especially on the news and research about this. Keep an eye on how you're feeling, both physically and mentally. And if something feels off, don't play the guessing game. Go have a talk with your healthcare provider. He is there for a reason. And for the curious minds, just here to learn, you got a front row seat to the show that will end with losers on both sides either way. I mean, nobody's winning here. If PFS is not real, all of those with symptoms are still suffering. And if it is real, well, all of us without symptoms has a lot to start worrying about. Whether PFS affects a small percentage or a larger group, it is clear that it's a topic deserving attention and future research. It is entirely about patient safety, understanding the risk, and continually striving for better treatments. In conclusion, Understanding post-finasteride syndrome is about more than just knowing the side effects. It's about being informed as a patient and advocate for your health. Remember, the more we know, the better choices we can make. Stay curious and proactive about your health. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more discussions like this.